There's never a good time to get laid off, but there's definitely a worse time to get laid off. I've been in recruitment for 15 years, and the reality is hiring comes to a screeching halt from Thanksgiving to the second week of January. So what do you do if you get laid off in that time period? If that's you, do not despair. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a step-by-step guide to exactly what you should do in that time period. Let's go. Now, the first thing you need to do is you need to check in with HR. There's a few things that you want to do. One, do you get a severance? Is there a severance package? Get all the information so you have everything you need about that from HR. The next thing you want to do is talk to them about insurance. You don't know what the job search is going to be like. And if you aren't on a spouse's insurance and this was the insurance you relied upon, you want to know, okay, well, how long does it last and what are my options? What are the costs? That is part of their job. Talk to them about that and get all the information you can get. The last thing that you can actually get, and most people don't know about this, is if you were laid off, get a letter from them stating that you were laid off. It's really important. Being laid off for financial reasons as opposed to getting fired for cause is a massive difference when it comes to being hired at your next company. And you never know when that letter might come in handy. So they may not offer that. You might ask it and they might say, we're not going to do that. But it certainly doesn't hurt. Ask if you can get a letter where they are stating that you were laid off and it was not through a performance review or something you did wrong. The next thing you want to do is you want to come to terms with your finances. Take a look at everything, right? How much do you have saved up? Are there things you could do to cut back on it? Do you have an emergency fund? All these things are really important, but you don't know how long you're going to be laid off. It could be a week. You could get a new job offer like a week or two from now. It could be 6 months. It could be a year. You never know what it's going to be. And while that sounds scary, what's more scary is not having everything under control and not being intentional with your finances. So my first recommendation here is to take a look at, okay, here's what I have saved up. Here's what my expenses are on a month-to-month basis. Here's where I can scale back, right? So you can understand how long you can make that buffer last. The next thing you want to do is file for unemployment. I've actually talked to people in the past who were like, they felt ashamed to file for unemployment. But the reality is you pay into that. Your taxes are taken out of every paycheck. So every paycheck you've gotten your entire life up to this point, you have paid into it. And when you get a job again, you will be paying into it. So take advantage of it. There's no shame in it. That is built in for you. I have done it before, and if I was ever let go again, I would do it again. There is no shame in that. Make sure you do it. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure your resume is up to date and your LinkedIn is up to date. The reality is a great LinkedIn profile will bring recruiters for you. And even though hiring has slowed down a bit, there is still hiring taking place. I manage a team of 25 recruiters, and we have hundreds of roles we are working on right now. And it is Black Friday for me when I'm recording this, the day after Thanksgiving. So there is still plenty of hiring going on. So make sure that your resume is updated and make sure that your LinkedIn profile is great. It has those keywords. It is optimized. I have videos on that, so make sure you go watch one of my videos on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile to get people to come to you. That way, you're trying to take advantage of every single opportunity that is out there, including recruiters who are reaching out to passive candidates and active candidates via LinkedIn. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to set up a job alert on LinkedIn. This is basically done by just searching for jobs in the LinkedIn jobs search function. It's pretty easy. Just go and find the jobs button at the very top of the screen and then do a search for your job title in your area. And then on the right side of the screen, LinkedIn will actually have a button where you can save the search and receive email updates when new jobs that meet those requirements are posted. This is really important because when you're applying for a job, it is very important to be amongst the first candidates who apply. If you apply to a job and you're the 100th applicant, a recruiter, HR person, and hiring manager may never look at your resume because they're already building a qualified pool of applicants from the beginning candidates. And once they get to a certain point and they have a certain amount of candidates, they basically stop looking for compliance reasons or just because they don't have enough time. So it is absolutely critical when the fewer jobs there are that are out there, that are interviewing, that are hiring, that you are one amongst the first applicants to do that. So make sure you set up a reminder and you apply early. Now, when you set up a reminder, you do want to customize your resume to the job you are applying to. You have to find the balance here between finding out the job is posted and efficiently, like super efficiently, saying, okay, here's the job, here's the must-haves. Let me make sure that there's overlap with the key terms and responsibilities in the job and what I've done in the past. and apply for the role with a customized resume. But you still want to make sure you do it quickly because you want to be a part of the handful of candidates who apply immediately. By the way, if you get an interview, you want to make sure that you are absolutely nailing it because the reality is you're probably going to get less interviews during this time. And if you really want to do that, what I want you to do is I want you to go down to the description box and click the link there. The link in the description box, that first one, is my full interview prep guide. And it's a full guide that teaches you everything you need to know to nail your interview. It's essentially like me having you as your own personal interview coach. It's got over 20 instructional videos teaching you how to interview. It has customized templates to teach you how to answer certain things. It prepares you for storytelling and actually has a few templates in there you can use to interact with recruiters and hiring managers. So click that link below if you want to become the best candidate possible and increase the likelihood of you getting a job offer. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to network like crazy. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is I want you to reach out to people who you have worked in the past, who you've had good relationships with, and let them know you are on the market and you are interested in connecting with them. What you're going to do is you're going to see if their company's hiring. You're going to connect with them, say, hey, I noticed your company's hiring. I loved working with you in the past. What do you think about your company? They'll tell you about it. And if they like where they work, you can say, man, that sounds great. You know, if there's anything you can do to get my resume in front of the hiring manager, I would greatly appreciate that. That's the kind of thing you want to make sure you're doing. You want to be applying for jobs, but you also want to be leveraging your network appropriately so you can actually get in front of people. The reality is candidates who are referral candidates have a much higher likelihood of not only getting to the interview round, but actually getting the job and getting hired. So you want to reach out to all your connections. But it doesn't just have to be the person you're connecting with. You can also reach out to people who work for companies you are interested in applying to. You can find a company with an open job that interests you. You want to make a target list of companies. Maybe it's 5 to 15 companies in your area that you admire, that you would love to work at. And then you want to reach out to people at those companies who might be in position to help you. A lot of times that could be recruiters, that could be people in HR, but it could also be technical people or people in your career field who you can reach out and say, hey, you know, I've admired your company for a long time. I'd love to connect with you and just learn more about what it is like working for your company. You might have to do that a few times before someone accepts it. But if someone accepts it and they agree to take a Zoom meeting or a phone call with you, then you could talk to them, find out more, and ask if there's anything they would recommend you do to actually get in front of the hiring manager. And if you do a good job like connecting with this person, they'll probably be willing to help you. Now, if you get to the interview and you have my interview guide, you're going to nail it. But you will also progress to a final interview. And I have to say, a final interview is much different than all the other interviews. In fact, it's so different I made a video about it. This video right here will teach you everything you need to know to nail a final round interview and stand out when it comes to all the qualified candidates who make it to that point. So I'm done here. I'll see you over there.